you. And welcome to another show of Don't Get This Twisted. I am Rob, along with my co-host, as always, Tina. How you doing, Tina?
I'm awake. I'm here.
Woohoo! Yeah!
I know. And I'm showered. I don't know how the hell that happened.
I'm right.
But when the alarm went off this morning, I was not a happy camper. Yay! I did it. I did.
Yay! All right. Good job. I know. I thought when I texted you this morning, I was going to be like, well, I wonder if she's going to be ripper and ready to go.
And I was.
And you totally were. Well done.
Right on time.
Right on time.
Who knew?
So, yesterday we were going to record, and you happened to be in your physical therapy way later, and kind of good actually, because I came up with I was listening to another podcast, which is like one of my favorites, and I had heard the headline along like weeks and weeks and weeks ago. There was an article in Vogue magazine in England, not here in the States, but it was basically saying having a boyfriend now is an embarrassment. And
that's crazy.
Then I found another podcast with these two yentas that I was going to send you, but they were just basically bad mouthing men. And here's the funny part. They both were taken, and they were still shitting on men and saying that, like, I can understand.
You're kidding me.
Oh, no. Totally.
What kind of man would be with somebody?
Yeah, I wonder. So they were basically still kind of shitting. I mean, maybe not shitting on men, but definitely saying that, like, they could understand because, we couldn't have a checking account for until there. And look, we can go back and talk about traditional shit all we want. Yes, things were different. But, this is what I always love when people go to me.
But they didn't live in that time anyway.
Exactly.
So why are they?
None of them did. None of us really did.
No.
We were the back tail end of that. That was like the 60s. And if you even want to go further back, like they were saying something about women voting, and they're like, we couldn't vote. And I was like, yeah, but if it wasn't for men, you still couldn't vote because men gave you the right to vote.
Well, there would be no government without man either. So, we're talking about completely changing the way life would look these days.
Totally. Well, we'd have no infrastructure either. And we can argue that until we're blue in the face.
We could even go back as far as we could say Native Americans they were property until 1920. We could bitch about a whole bunch of things.
All kinds of things.
But unfortunately, those times were hard and everything on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But even now, like, we look at it now, and they saved us. They saved us from so many things. They're right. Women could vote. Native Americans are not property anymore. They're kind of regarded in a totally different light than they were. Times change, things evolve. But what they're evolving into now is ridiculous. So you sent me the podcast, and the podcast was about how women don't need men and how they just kind of shit on them and embarrass their friends for having boyfriends. And the more I listened to the podcast, the more I was just like, oh, I fucking hate people, because it was so lame and totally different than the way we were raised. We were raised, you're supposed to have respect for men and appreciate them for what they do for us and be happy that they were strong and were capable. Now these people are just like, everything about a man is wrong. Yeah. And that's just so stupid.
Well, and I
don't get it.
I also think that we're breeding, bad behavior. First of all, like, there's a lot of different things. The podcast really went into like a lot of other things of like, if we keep doing this, the birth rates will fall so low that we won't have to worry about anything. Right. Because we're not mating anymore. So, right. Which is a whole other, like a whole other avenue of this, of the way that they were really kind of saying it. And the article was more saying it to like, even though some of these people may have mates, they're all embarrassed to have them now because we live in a social media network of life where everything is posted. And if you have something, you either lose followers. I saw one where this girl was talking about how she posted her new boyfriend and lost like 30,000 followers in a day because she now is taken. Because I guess she
Yeah, and apparently that's not the way to be now, that you're more susceptible to being watched if you're single and going out with your girlfriends
Mhm.
and doing that thing than being happy with a man.
Right. Well, because they were probably their social media following was based on like, I'm a strong, independent person. And now that I have a boyfriend, you lose that. You know what I mean? And they were talking about, and again, I'm going to go in and out of different podcasts because I've listened to a bunch of them kind of on this since yesterday, which is even funnier. So they talked about Taylor Swift and how what's going to happen with Taylor Swift, because now, of course, she's engaged to be married, and even now her whole thing is that she's like this boss and a bad woman and blah blah blah, and now she's with this overly masculine football player, right? So people were like, oh, her following is going to go sideways and blah blah blah, or she's going to get married and get pregnant and then have a baby, and then she's going to turn another side of people to go down that road. You know what I mean? So like, because we've always had some kind of, quote unquote following, even if they were just actors, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I see everything both ways, but I think that the trashing of the modern or the traditional type things is really a recipe for disaster on both sides, right? Because you're teaching women. I mean, men won't even approach people in bars anymore. They said that is just a lost art. Guys have given up on that because they don't want to go up to somebody and then get, either recorded doing it because their friends all have fucking phones in their hands, and then they end up posting it or whatever, or they go on their social media and then shit on everything that's been done. So it just goes to show that we are different animals, men and women. We're just different.
Oh, for sure.
And they kind of talked even about that, where, where men, like women will, I've talked about it before, where your single friends will bury your new boyfriend if he does one little thing wrong, because they also don't want you to be happy because they're not happy. And
yeah, those are not friends, by the way.
Right. And we talked right before we got on, and obviously you're not like that. And you're not. I mean, you're not even like that with your male friends. Like when I talk about something, you're like, yeah, cool. Like you know what I mean? But you've always,
let's see what happens next.
Right. You've always been the cheerleader though. Like, you know what I mean? When it comes to that.
Have I? I didn't even realize that.
But you have been, like, even since I met you. Right. So, but since we do the bell curve here on the show, like, I think you're outside that bell curve, even though I think the curve is small. I don't think all single friends shit on other people, but I just think
I hope not.
I hope not too, because it's just going to ruin everything. But I think men don't care. When their best friend gets a girlfriend, they just kind of go, well, not going to see Rob for a little while. It's just part of the thing, because we know how we are. Most men, when they get into a relationship, the first thing they want to do is make sure that their girlfriend is happy. So they're going to do whatever it takes to make her happy. And if it's time, they're going to give her time. If it's, whatever that is, again, within the bounds of what he believes in. If she wants to go out with her friends, 4 nights a week, he's just going to break up with her. He's going to be like, all right, I got to go. And
because if she doesn't want to be around you, there's something wrong with that.
Right. And then he's just going to go right back to his boys, because his boys are going to let him right in and hand him a controller and sit down on the couch and get drunk. Like, that's just what's going to happen. And I think that when everyone starts looking at the reality of it, being in a relationship is not an embarrassment. Like, we have to stop this pushing of,
Insane.
yeah, it's, well, and here's the other thing. They were talking about something where, um, in the old days, you'd post your mate. Now it's like, even when you have one, it's all like, the back of their head or their hand on a table, or like, they don't even show who they are. They're just like, it's like this hidden thing. And no man wants to be hidden. None.
Well, I would hope not, but I know a lot of men that don't want to be on social media either. And you got to respect that too. It's ridiculous, the social media and how much women will put pictures and stuff up and post just to get the likes.
Mhm.
And a lot of men don't like that either. And I kind of agree with that. Like, I want to be around the whomever it is, whether it be a friend or other. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm not, we just did this whole thing and I'm not in one picture. That doesn't, I don't know. There's so much to this. I was listening to, you made me so frustrated yesterday by having me listen to this podcast. I was floored. I was absolutely floored. And I don't believe it's even true, but it is.
Yeah. I I think that, it's funny because once I started listening to it before, because like you were um like an hour in, an hour past. So I was like, I started
Yeah.
listening to it, and then I remember going, I'm gonna send her this and go, this is your homework for tonight, just because I wanted to see what you would do. Because I knew,
There's a reason why I don't listen to podcasts, and that is it.
yeah, I
Ugh.
was about 20 minutes in and I was like, she is going to lose her shit. And
I did. I was in the car yelling at the
oh, for
radio.
sure. I knew about 20 minutes in. I was like, and then like, here's the even worse part. About 20 minutes in, I'm like, ooh, this is going to be rough. And then about 40 minutes in, I was like, oh my God, I hope she stops. Like, cause there's things in this that she's going to fucking,
I gotta admit, I stopped at about 45 minutes,
no.
and it was a long ass
Oh no, it
podcast.
was even longer than that. It's like an hour and 35 minutes. But I knew about
I know.
40 minutes
I
in.
couldn't.
I knew at about 40 minutes. I was like, there's no way she's going to go any further than this. Cause it was like, they just kept bombing on this. And look, it's a social thing. It's a social thing. We are people. And social media has just made it worse. So it's amplified all this craziness. Are there dudes that post stuff because they're looking for likes
A
or a
reaction.
reaction? And I mean pictures of them, not just, I post things because I like the reaction, because I like to fucking light a fire under people's asses. But
That's funny.
when dudes will post shit, mostly if they're like gym bros, they'll always do it. And then girls just do it anyway. But here's the thing. I think that everyone is probably out there looking for some kind of, validation, right? Even if it's small or large, either or, because everyone loves validation. That's why if you have a mate, you better be getting validation from them. That's a,
Mhm. Yeah, but you don't want it from them because they're the enemy.
I mean,
I was like,
I
what?
hope not, but they could be, yes. Well, because here's the one thing that I think younger people, and I don't know about older people, but I could be wrong. Here's part of the issue with that too, is like, let's say your mate is very complimentary, right? And I don't think, I think men, I mean, I want to say this, but maybe I'm wrong. I think men give compliments because they are truthful. Like,
I agree with that. Men don't know how to pull the bullshit that women do. Men are linear thinkers. They cause and effect. They're very good at that. Where women, they could change anything into you're wrong, you're an asshole, and you don't support me.
right.
But
And
men, they go ahead.
I just think it's more of the, men are just like, if you walk by and your ass looks good, we're going to tell you. That's just how men are. That's how we're built. We're visual people. But I think a lot of women in relationships, and again, this is being generalized. I don't have any proof on this, but I think women that have their mates say something may feel they're doing it because they feel that they have to. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of women, I think would be like, well, he just says this because he has to. Where I think men, if they don't want to, they are not going to, and they don't give two shits. So if they tell you look good, it's probably because you look good. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. I would totally agree with that. I have several male friends. I am not from the era that these girls came from that said that they don't need men. I got to tell you that I love my male friends like so much because they're real. I don't have to bullshit them. They don't care what I look like. They're my friends. They're just people that are supportive of me as me, not as a woman. There's none of this, oh, it's because you're a woman, or I was looking for a female friend, or you don't get that shit from men. You're like, hey, you don't bug me. Let's hang out. It's that's how men are to me. It's as long as we're not bugging them, they'll hang out. They'll do whatever. It's and they do show up. My male friends show up in ways. I had a male friend this morning say, if if I really like somebody, I have to force time to see them. Like my life is such that I don't get time. So when I know that when we're hanging out, it's because that's really what he found important to do. Not, oh yeah, well, I just got some time, so I'm gonna burn it hanging out with her. It's Men are not like that. Women are, oh, I don't have time to do it today. Can we go tomorrow? And then, oh, we got to go shopping. You want to go with me? It's for a totally different reason. It's everything about women is totally different than men, and how they do things, how they approach things, how they are with things. And I think that what we're doing to men in this society is just, it's disgusting. Not only is it disgusting, but I feel like men should be slapping women around more. Like, get out of your fucking head. Why are you being such an idiot? Like, I don't, oh, we should post the video, or not the video, the podcast that we're talking about, so that people could be disgusted with me.
Yeah, I'll put
It
it.
was ridiculous.
I'll put a link to it in the description. I
But
think
I don't understand how women don't see that what they're doing is just disgusting. It's I don't know.
it's definitely counterproductive, right?
It's beyond that.
This is why, and again, I think this is very much an American thing.
But was the podcast wasn't even, is it an American podcast?
Well, the guy who hosts it, it's called Modern Wisdom. He's British, but he lives in Texas. So yeah. So I guess you can kind of, yes, it's kind of both.
It's an American. Okay, gotcha.
You know, I think he's just a very open thinker about all kinds of different things. Where I just think that it's a scary thing we're doing, right? If no one should be embarrassed of their mate. Zero.
Or embarrassed to have one.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, to even exactly, you shouldn't be embarrassed to have one. If you are embarrassed to have a mate, we have done something wrong somewhere. Right?
I totally agree with that.
Or you shouldn't be in a place where you're hiding the existence of wanting to be with someone or hiding the existence of someone.
I agree.
It's because all you're doing is planting the seeds in the head of that person that they're really not important.
Yep.
And then what you're doing is, if you have found someone who is worth a shit, the more you keep throwing it in their head that they're not important, they're going to find someone who makes them important.
Yep. Absolutely.
And it's a
and they should.
Absolutely.
They shouldn't stick around and wait for the bullshit that is being fed to them.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope of trying to find happiness. And look, to be fair, we said something before we went on here. Neither sex needs each other now. We just don't. Like, and it's a fact. Um,
I don't know. I think I still believe they
no,
do.
I think
Just for balance in one's own life. You can't just be all female driven. You can't be all male driven. There's, you know, I just think that's where we're screwing up because we do need each other in ways that we should really look at, so that it's not just no, we don't. We do. We really do.
I think
I don't know.
socially you're 100% correct. I think I think what they're talking about not needing each other anymore is economically, which we could
Well,
argue in California that is also total bullshit.
I was gonna say, there's not enough places for people that are single to live that they can afford these
Yeah,
days. So are we wrong on that too? I think we are.
I would. The argument would be yes, probably. I think in today's day and age, it's a difficult thing to live by yourself and survive. Like, I mean,
Absolutely.
I do it, but I'm definitely, I'm at a different end of the spectrum, and I still live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of the world. But I think that men and women don't need each other to survive anymore. I think that would have been the argument of like, you know, uh 50s, you know, mothers at home, because women basically lived with their parents until they got married,
Mhm.
and I think men mostly probably did the same to a degree. um I would have to see some statistics of what single men in the 50s were like. I mean, I'm assuming they probably lived with other dudes in one big house and then met somebody and moved out. Because I don't think apartments were at such a huge thing then. You know what I mean? There weren't apartments every other fucking block. They're
Right.
building one down the street from me, teen, that has to be, and I'm not exaggerating, it's probably 400 units. It's
Whoa.
it's massive. It's so massive. It's three individual buildings. Yeah, it's
Wow.
wild. So obviously the apartment part of it is big right now, right? They're building apartments for some reason because people need them, and we
Yep.
can't afford a house. No one can afford a house anymore. But
Yeah. Not on a single
no.
income.
So I think what we're doing with saying that being embarrassed, and again, this is mostly a woman thing because it was written by a woman and she was basically saying it from a woman's point of view. But uh, if the embarrassment part is very scary, because to be embarrassed about something is you're planting a seed in a person's mind that they're probably going to think that for a long period of time. It's hard to come back from.
Or they're not gonna buy into it. I That's what I'm hoping. I hope that people that are hearing this are like, I'm not buying into it. I'm not gonna be that person that's gonna shame somebody who's good to me, who loves me, who's there for me. Like, why would you buy into that? Why is that okay for you to feel like that towards somebody you're supposed to love? Did we not teach this generation what love is? Is that what the problem is? Or, what happened that we've gotten so far out of focus? Like, we're way out of focus when it comes to how we should be treating one another, how we should be treating ourselves. It's just gone way too far out of bounds. And I don't know really how to fix it. Well, first of all, I'm grateful I don't have kids that I have to deal with this, to be honest with you. I don't think that I left a situation where my daughter thought that there was no need for men. There was always a need for men in our
Right.
lives. And I'm grateful that I did that because she's not she's not out of the age of women that are thinking this way. But I just don't get it. Like I was listening to that podcast and I got to tell you, I was pissed off at you for telling me to listen to it. Like I was like, you know better than to give this shit to me.
Right.
And I was going, "Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm losing it." So then I had to call a friend and talk to her about it, and then I got her all riled up, and then it just went on from there. I couldn't control how pissed off I was at the whole scenario.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, and I mean, did I mean to rile you up a little bit? It's only because I
You
was
did.
already riled up because I
You
listened
wanted
to
to
it,
share, right?
and even I was like, fuck, are you kidding me? Because like, here's the thing. I have a kid. I mean, he'll be 23 next month. He has a very different way of looking at things. Because we talked about certain things here and there. I think that he understands that having a mate is important.
Mhm.
But I also think he won't settle for anything less than what he thinks he deserves. So
I would hope
yeah,
not.
which I think is awesome. So he gives a shit. Um, I, I think the social media thing is the killer of a lot of things. We've talked about it on this show fucking a million times, and I think it's 100% correct. We we have now found ourselves in this drowning thing of wanting to have attention 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's scary. That when your mate, or if you assuming you have one, your when you aren't getting some kind of response from them, you just run to social media, post a picture of yourself to get some kind of, pop out of it so you can feel better about yourself. Where instead of fixing the problem at its core, which is inside the house, right?
Mhm.
Um, it to me, and I'm going to give you from the male point of view, since it was a female pointed thing. You know, I haven't been in a relationship in quite a while, but for me, if and when I am, I better be, everyone better know. I think that's important. Do they have to know every fucking 5 seconds? No, but they should know. The people around you should know that you're happy with someone, and part of the argument that they were talking about is like a lot of people, they don't want to see you be, um, be out and about and be like, oh, well, they're on vacation. It's the same thing with that kind of thing. Like, don't do vacation pictures because, it's people don't want to, your friends don't want to see that, blah, blah, blah. Those type of things where that's where they think about the boyfriend thing. Like I don't want to make my single friends feel bad by posting, a picture of me and my
Oh,
boyfriend. It's like, well,
bejeebus.
that's not your responsibility.
No.
Your
And it's not
responsibility.
your job to make them happy either. Your job is to be happy. Your job is to do what's best for you. Your job is to find your own way in life.
Mhm.
Who wants if I love my friends, but I don't want them telling me who I can and can't date, what I can and can't do, who I am as a person. Like you're never going to get that out of me because I don't listen to that. But what I do is I encourage everybody's happy. I if they want to be in a relationship with somebody, great. If they want to be in a shitty relationship with somebody, I'll be like, okay, do your thing. I'm just gonna sit back here, put my feet up, pop some popcorn, and we will see what happens next.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to change you. I'm not trying to do anything to hurt you. But if you want to be dumb, be dumb. Be dumb.
Yeah,
I will cheer you on like nobody would.
I think the bigger thing is understanding things about your friends. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you my biggest example would be my best friend got married. I think it's gonna be 8 years ago in March. Uh, Knowing that he was going to get married and I had been married before, and this was his first marriage, I knew what was coming, right? You have to
Mm-hmm.
understand as a friend that when relationship statuses change, whether that's getting a girlfriend or getting a boyfriend or getting married, your relationship with your friends is going to change.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's very small, like you still see each other all the time, or very large where you see each other once a month because life is going to change because they've decided to be with a mate. And
Mm-hmm.
and that's just part of it. It's not a knock on anyone for getting married or getting in a relationship. I think you just have to think logically. So the logical part of me goes, okay, well, he's going to get married. I'm still going to try to um text him. I'm in a text thread with him, me, him, and another guy, which the things we say on that, if I had ever posted them, I would be in a lot of trouble. We,
As it should
oh yeah,
be.
we send memes to each other that are utterly horrible. Um, and even my mate, if and when I'm with a mate, I don't know if I'd even let her read them because she'd probably go, "Holy shit!" I'd be in a lot of trouble.
Oh, come on, let her read
Oh
them.
yeah, they're
See, and that's the thing. For me, I don't want to be with somebody I can't be me with. I want to know. I want them to know Tina's got a really inappropriate side, and I love her anyway.
right. I mean, yes, me
There
too.
shouldn't be any freaking reason why. Well, yeah, I guess they should judge you according to those things. If you think about it, but there's no reason to. There's no reason to hide it because it'll come out in what I say too.
Exactly. I just, I mean, I would show anybody these things, but I would definitely would come with a be ready. Like,
Yeah.
because
There's a warning label that should come with some of that stuff.
absolutely. But I
But I
knew
think that anybody that knows you would know that you're not saying it to be mean or to put anybody down. You're saying it purely for the entertainment properties.
correct.
And that you can't get mad about.
And at the end of the day, I think that when those relationships start, you know, you and again, I'm just speaking from a man's point of view because I think we just think a certain way about things. Like I knew when he started dating her that my time with him would be cut. That's just the way things happen. And
Mhm.
and we still make time for each other when we can. But, you know, I would never say that it would be an embarrassment to put my girlfriend's picture up, because I don't think my male friends would be like, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe he's with somebody now and I'm single and why is he posting these things?" Okay, that's we just don't think like that. And part of this podcast was mostly saying how women will react to said things, where you'll put a picture of your new mate and you're probably hurting feelings of other people instead of logically thinking and going, well, I'm happy for them. And it's like, it's just a very bizarre thing for me to think that someone would be embarrassed to have somebody.
Yeah. For me, those aren't the people that I want to be around anyway. Like people that think like that, I don't have time for because it's nonsense. It doesn't it doesn't feel right to put a stamp on that kind of bullshit. So I just wouldn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's weird to me. And here's the bigger problem is I bet you to them, the person who isn't posting about their mate, they're fully in love with their mate. They're more worried about what's going to happen on the outside of it instead of really thinking about what's happening on the inside.
Forget that. Just do it. And whoever has a problem with it, get them out of your life. Like maybe if we start dealing with people on a real level where, their way of thinking or their way of acting is bullshit
Mm-hmm.
and we're not going to put up with it. Maybe if we stopped making room for everybody to have these stupid opinions and we kept them over there on a shelf, it wouldn't have gotten so bad. But now it's gotten so bad we have generations of people thinking this way. And it's to our detriment. It's totally to our detriment.
Mm-hmm.
And the sad thing is they're blaming men, and men are like going, we had nothing to do with this shit. Like,
Mm.
I don't think that way.
Right.
I didn't want that. You were the one that said, you didn't want to do this or that. I just said okay. It's women. And I mess around with my friends all the time and I believe it, but then I'm like, come on, you're being dumb. Like it goes back to the Eve thing. Eve, man, messed up a lot of shit. And now women are still doing it. They're still like, there's an evil there that's going on that hasn't changed in all of these years. And still men are suffering for it. And I can't believe I just said that, but it's true. Women come up with some crazy shit. All the Karens in this world, all the women thinking they don't need a man, all the people that hype up, men being worthless and everything. It's all women. It's women that are doing this. Like the hate's gone too far.
Mm-hmm. I
And women are supposed to be the loving ones.
yeah, I mean, yes, that is a very good point. That's a great way of looking at it. We are supposed to be the ones that don't have empathy and don't have feelings. And I think that's
Right.
crazy. I think at the end of this day, I want everyone to come out of this. I'm going to put a link to several of the podcasts that I got this
But
information
don't
from.
listen to them unless you want to get pissed off.
You're definitely not going to be happy.
No, not at all. It's some bullshit.
I want people to like really dive deep. I'm going to give you both. There's one, like I said, there's one from this one, and I didn't send it to you, Tina, and I probably should. It's called "Girls Gotta Eat." They're horrible yentas, and I think that they really
Yentas.
They're just horrible. And again, if you have somebody and you're still saying that this is the way to do it, you're for one a hypocritical piece of shit. Where the other one from the Modern Wisdom one, I think they were trying to look at it from a very social aspect of everything. Just how people see each other in this modern land. But I think it's bled into our generation for sure. Probably not as much, but it's definitely bled into it, where I think that the sexes now are so based, and they're just like, I don't need someone. And look, I've said it out loud as well, but the reality is we all need someone. The statistics show, the most unhappy people on this planet are single mothers, or in the United States, single mothers, the worst. They're the most unhappy people. Second would be dating couples, dating people. And the most happy are married women, which is, I would have never, ever thought that would be the truth with the divorce rate so high. But statistically speaking, the people, and again, I don't know what the number of people asked was. So,
Mhm.
but either way, if you're getting, you know, 50%, that's very high to say that they're happy and married. Because I think when they ask somebody, you know, are you single and unhappy? And you say yes. But if you say you're married and happy and say yes, it's because you're thinking about how it was when you were single, or when you were, a single parent and by yourself and doing all these things. It's so I can understand those sides of it. I just
Mhm.
think being married or being in a very committed relationship gives you stability. And that's what we like as human beings. We like stability. We like to know that when we come home, the person that we want to be with is there for us. And, you can share things with. And this, I would never be embarrassed. As a matter of fact, I think that and again, I don't want to say that I would like post pictures all the time, because I just don't think that that's me either. But I'd want someone to know that I was with somebody. I think you should
Mhm.
be proud of your mate, not embarrassed of them. Everyone should know. Like, I kind of like you. I'll give you as an example, because like social media wasn't really, really, really big when I was married. It was, but it was just the curve of it, right? It's MySpace.
Mhm.
Um, so, but I knew that you had a mate and you were married and you had a family, and you would post things not even all the time, but frequently.
Mhm.
Where, and I think I probably,
Now what do I
you don't,
post?
nothing.
Nothing. Nothing.
So I think the bigger picture is, look, if you're embarrassed about having a boyfriend, you have a much larger problem. If you have, if you're embarrassed about having a girlfriend, you have a much larger problem. You,
Yep.
do you need to post fucking every dinner that you go out with? No, I, I don't think that that's, you know, the,
Yeah, I have a problem with all those food pics everybody
right,
posts. If they're not gonna bring the food over, I don't need to see
right. That's a good point. Yeah.
it.
Don't go sharing some shit if you're not asking me to go out to
Yeah.
dinner with you.
Right,
Yeah. If
exactly.
you're, but I think that we as human beings need to understand that both your mates need to know that they're important. Um,
Mhm.
there's a difference between being um n- posting every blue moon and being a total secret. If you're a secret, there's a bigger problem,
Yeah.
a much larger problem.
Well, and we do need the opposite sex for so many reasons. I I have found over the years that the men in my life have been a source of support that I would never have gotten from any of the women in my life. The women in my life, from as young as I can remember, always had an opinion of how I was supposed to be, what I was supposed to do, how I was supposed to act, who I was supposed to be with. And men, the flip side, were like, yeah, just hang out and hand me a wrench. Literally, I've spend some time hanging out. You want to talk? Talk to me. You want to not say something? Don't say it. Like we could just exist. And I found over the years that that's a source of peace for me to be able to just be in a room with somebody that doesn't want to judge me.
Hmm.
And men don't care. They just, if they like you, they'll hang out with you. If they don't like you, they ain't gonna, instantly.
Right.
I don't have to be anything else. I don't have to make myself look any specific way. I just have to be me around my male friends. Also around my ex-husband, it was the same thing. Like he wasn't about judging me. Like he had a problem if I didn't keep the house clean or if I didn't get the stuff I was supposed to get done. Then But judging me on who I was personally or what I had or what I was posting, man, am I grateful that not even my female friends, so because we're out of the age loop, let's be honest. But if I had had that as a younger person, I wouldn't have had any self-confidence at all. And looking for validation from people that don't you shouldn't look to them for is ridiculous. You like, why would you do that? Why would you pick friends that would do that? Now here I'm judging. I'm judging you.
Mhm.
Like if you have a boyfriend and that is not cool for some people, you don't need those people. But it doesn't mean that you treat him disrespectfully and like they're a disease instead of something that brings a source of peace to your life. Like, come on. Why are you thinking that way?
Mhm. Yeah, I think that if the person is bringing you joy and happiness, make sure they know it.
Yes.
And it's okay to, at least on some level, share that with the public,
Mm,
because we do live in this. We're not going to get away from the social media hack. That's just, unfortunately, we're kind of stuck in it now. But if you're not big on social media, awesome, not a big deal. But I do believe that you should, that people in your life should know it. And I think purely these days, for the people who don't like to keep their distance, need to know.
yeah.
You shouldn't be embarrassed of your mate, because if you are, you're going to get unwanted direct messages all the time. Well, you shouldn't. And look, men are pieces of shit generally, and they don't care if it says that you have a boyfriend or a mate. They're going to continue to do it. But at least if it's there, you have that as a, didn't I tell you I was married, or didn't I tell you that I was with somebody? Like, let it go. So,
Yeah. You know what's funny? And now this was something that came up into my it came up during his listening to that stupid podcast uh was now that I'm dating, I get approached by like 30 something year old guys all the time.
right.
And and I've never okay, guys my own age, I was never approached, or maybe I just didn't notice it because I was been told I've been oblivious to that too. But I get approached by young guys all the time. And I always think, what the hell do they want with somebody so much older? I get it now because they're not getting any play from women their own age. And not only that, from what I hear, the women are such bitches, they don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, wow, first of all, this is a good time to be alive if I was younger, because there's been a lot of guys that I would have been like, damn, I would go for that. But because of age and feeling like we're not in the same place in life,
Mm-hmm.
I have stayed away. But I get it now why these boys, these younger men, aren't wanting to be with them. I get it now. After hearing that podcast, I get it.
Right.
And how sad.
Uh,
Like
I agree.
women are just so gross right now.
Well, because
It's
now I
repulsive.
think if you're young and have a mate, you're also fighting a million people that can look at your social media every day. And as a guy, you don't want to do that shit. Like, you just don't. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, if that's what you want, go have that. And I think that's where
Yeah.
men are also giving up. It's like, I have one that's on our list of things that I've been kind of holding off and holding off and holding off and holding off. But it was, would you give up social media for your mate? And
In a heartbeat.
yeah, but I think that, I guarantee you right now that if you put that out there, people would lose their shit in a second.
I wouldn't. I'd be like, sign me up.
Yeah.
What am I getting? Like they say $1 million or a year without social media. Shit, I could go longer than that. I gave up TV and I didn't think when I was growing up that I could ever go without TV, and it isn't hard at all.
Mhm.
None of it is.
But I mean, I think this would be one of those things where you have to really kind of look at the reality of the world. Like I think there would be a lot of people, and I probably women, and then again, I know that's horrible to say, but um that wouldn't do it. That would not give up social media.
Yeah. I don't post. I gave up on that, the social media stuff. I'll check it out, but I don't really post anymore because anybody that I want to know what I'm doing, we talk all the time.
Right.
They know. So I'm at a point where with social media, I got a lot of stalkers. So people that don't want to like me, don't want to be around me, I noticed that I've heard things that I have posted and I'm like, "Oh, so somebody's paying attention. They don't even like me." So why would I give them that power? So I just don't.
Right.
I just quit posting.
Oh,
Not that I was even any good at doing it to begin with. I wasn't.
right.
I still don't I still can't navigate through Instagram, so that says anything.
Right. So, um, what are your last words on this lovable subject?
You really wanna
Let her
know?
rip.
Quit being fucking stupid, people, because y'all need each other. Men and women were made to be counterparts to each other, just like everything in nature was set to be balanced. And if you think for 1 second you don't need it, you're gonna be miserable and lonely for a long time, but do you. But know that you don't have to be like that and you shouldn't care that much. You just should not care.
Yeah. And at the end of this day, if it's embarrassing having a boyfriend, then I think you're in the wrong business.
That's for sure.
So, check us out on social medias. I know the holiday is coming. So, matter of fact, this is going to come out the day before Thanksgiving. So, happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Have fun with your family.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And
Enjoy.
yeah, it's an opinion show. Don't get it twisted. Keep coming back every Wednesday. That's Tina. I'm Rob. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
See ya.